Something you will notice maybe if you practiced some other martial arts. So people who practice some martial arts, sometimes they were taught to try to keep position like this. So like this, or even like this. So protecting your groin. So people think that it's strange that we have such a position open here. But of course this is some kind of misunderstanding, because we don't have such a position. Basically, we don't have any positions at all. We are moving. Our idea is continuous movement and not just taking some positions. So practicing positions, let it be Jianzhuang, standing in some position when practicing Shili, or making those steps. This is not what you do in fighting. In fighting, we want to move, we want to change our position in relation to the opponent all the time. So even this basic Mozabu steps you're doing slowly, so for quite long time. Okay, if you think that opponent is in front of you, then here for quite long time your groin is open. But one thing is, of course, in fighting we are not doing it so slowly, so please notice. I'm here, not so much open. I do this, then I pull this leg here. Again, closing, so it's moving all the time, changing position. It's not staying in such open position for longer time. Even if in some schools they will teach you more closed position when it comes to moving in various directions, of course you will separate your legs and you will become open for splits of seconds, and it will be exactly the same. So this is some misunderstanding. You start thinking about groin open here. It's illusion. It's not different than in the other art where they will teach you in basic postures to close your groin. Also, we are not trying to stay in frontal position toward opponent all the time. This is some basis, and we have some basic exercises when we practice like this. A lot of pushing hands is like this, a lot of some Kalisz, counter to Kalisz, and pushing hands we practice in this position, but this is in order to make some things simpler, easier to learn before you move to situations which are more changeable and free. So we are not trying to stand or even move like this with partner, like in pushing hand. Okay, we're moving like this. Actually, this is only basic. And then it's all the time changing position, changing direction. So those basic steps are not some fixed steps which you use in fighting, but they are only some exercise which help you to develop basis for next stages of practice. So you see, this mozabu, pulling this foot here, forward, outward, like this, or more circular, more round movement at later stages. But at the beginning we don't do it round, but we do it like 1, 2, 3, three separate movements which are simple, and in each of them the directions of forces are very clear, so it's very easy to practice this and develop this feeling of those forces, of those directions, coordinating your mind and your body, because before you move to more fluid changes. But see, it's not here, 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 and all the time being in front position like this, but the idea is here I'm closing, then next step maybe I will move here. So see, it's not from here moving like this, but first this foot is moving forward because it might move in completely different step, change into the different step. But maybe I'm moving there, situation changes, and I actually do this part of this foot is moving outside. See, and then next steps. So in those steps, basic steps, there is idea of being ready for changes, not just doing this fixed step, but there are many different possibilities, many different changes in this force, including also sweeping opponent. Remember, we're doing this movement with backward steps, so it's working with feeling of those forces, which could also be used for sweeping opponent in close contact. So there's a lot of different possibilities, possible changes, and those steps are only preparation, and those exercises which we practice in those basic positions and with those basic steps are only some simplified exercises to make it easier for a beginner to learn some things, to develop some basis for the next more demanding stages of practice.